Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, the 4 former Industrial ISD students in trouble with the law were in court today.
A man new to Houston was attacked with a box cutter. He says he may move out of town now.
And a court date is set on those floating barriers in the Rio Grande.
We are very excited in the weather department. Some much needed rainfall is headed towards South Texas. Now already we're picking up a little shower activity down along the coast here in the Crossroads, but it's going to get even heavier on Friday. We'll talk about that coming up.
And a Girl Scout troop came into contact with an alligator while swimming at Huntsville State Park over the weekend. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us. I'm James Munoz.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
A high-speed chase ended with an arrest in Hallettsville. 34-year-old Lamar Darian Martin is in custody. It all started in Fayette County. Authorities say the suspect tried to run. They caught up with him. He's now charged with possession of a controlled substance and evading arrest. Authorities say the suspect dumped some meth, and they say he had around $3,000 cash in that vehicle. 4 former Industrial ISD baseball players indicted in an assault case in court today.
25 News reporter Adarius McCormick was there and is following the case. Adarius.
That's right. The former baseball players were charged with organized criminal assault back in July. Today they appeared in court for a hearing. Braxton Cole Warren, Zachary James Cuckler, Christopher Taylor McRoy, and Cullen Reed Stumful were in Jackson County Courthouse this morning. The hearing will determine the future of the case. We're waiting to hear from the Jackson County Clerk's office about where the case goes from here. We could have an update as soon as tomorrow morning, so we'll continue to share information as soon as it's possible. Back to you guys.
Adarius, thank you. Lower taxes are coming to Wharton County residents. The Wharton Journal-Spectator reports the Wharton County Commissioners Court voted unanimously this week to adopt a balanced 2024 county budget and 2023 tax rate, cutting taxes and offering raises to county employees in the process.
And I understand some rain's on the way, but it could be quite a lot. So an alert day, Mac?
Yes, by the time we get to Friday, we're going to put out an alert day because rain is rolling back into the area. Even as we speak, from Victoria down toward Port Lavaca, we're getting some shower activity. It's quiet in CUERO, but out in West Texas is the beginning of what you might even call a rainstorm. It's headed in our way, and so we'll have more details coming up in just a moment.
Thank you, Michael Ovio. In Houston, a man was leaving a store just looking to buy something for his child when he was robbed and attacked in his car.
The suspect slashed the man's neck with a box cutter before taking off in a getaway car.
Just months after moving to Houston with his family, and this man, who we agreed to keep anonymous for his safety, says he was robbed and his neck slashed during the frightening encounter. His wife tells us he FaceTimed her for help.
And I pick up the phone and he's covered in blood and he's like, "Babe, I'm dying. I need help. Send help. I'm dying."
On Sunday, her husband was getting swim floaties for their son at Academy Sports on Westheimer. It was broad daylight when her husband says he noticed a car parked close to him and a woman was in the driver's seat staring at him.
He put the windows down to let some of the heat out because we're not used to Texas heat because we're new to town. He's not from here. And as he was letting down the heat, that's when the guy just kind of ran up to the car, grabbing his shirt, trying to pull him out.
She says her husband tried to push him out of the way with the car door. The suspect made it out with his wallet, and she says almost killed him.
He was trying to get back into the vehicle, and they swiped at his throat with a blade, with a box cutter, actually. It was a box cutter that they used.
The suspect made his escape in the parked car next to him, with the woman in the driver's seat. He was taken to the hospital, and while he's physically okay, he's still shaken up. Their kids also anxious after seeing their dad like this.
I'm lining up a family trauma therapist for everyone because this is just, it's so bad that we probably will be moving out of Houston very soon. I don't see us staying.
Brooke Taylor, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
A federal appeals court has set a date of October 5th to hear arguments in the controversial floating barrier case. The barrier was deployed in the Rio Grande by Governor Greg Abbott. Last week, the appellate court ordered a temporary freeze in the case after Texas requested a stay. The freeze came just 24 hours after a U.S. district judge ruled the White House could order the state to remove the buoys. In July, Texas was sued over the barriers by the DOJ because they argued Abbott installed them without authorization. A woman with whom Attorney General Ken Paxton's staff claim he had an affair could be called to testify in the Republicans' impeachment trial today. Laura Olson was called to the stand this morning, but Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said she cannot testify until the afternoon because of the rules. Paxton's affair has taken a central role in the proceeding. Several of his former senior employees testified they believed it explained why Paxton was using his office to aid a wealthy donor who employed the woman.
There was an explosion in fire at a rural oil and gas facility in North Texas. Happened this morning. Fire crews responded to the fire around 7 a.m. near Decatur. The fire was contained to one of those storage tanks on the property. One person had to go to the hospital. It's unclear what started the fire. A Girl Scout troop is recounting some scary moments they had to swim for safety when they found themselves feet away from an alligator. It happened on an overnight camping trip at Huntsville State Park. The alligator was about 14 feet long and it was swimming towards the troop, causing panic and chaos. The girls all swam to shore safely. The experts say alligator attacks there are rare, but they can happen.
Corpus Christi and Klein ISD this week voted to join a lawsuit against the Texas Education Agency. KCEN reports the lawsuit is over the new TEA's new accountability rating process. The school districts say changes this year to the system lacked transparency. The accountability ratings were scheduled to be released September 28th, but were delayed until October so the agency could be re-examining the data to use to calculate the ratings.
Thousands of auto workers across the country are preparing to walk out if their demands are not met.
Members of the United Auto Workers Union are calling for higher wages and benefits. Here's more.
A possible strike looming for all of the big three U.S. auto companies. The United Auto Workers Union says offers from Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, which makes Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles, are falling short.
The working class is being left living paycheck to paycheck and feeding off the scraps. You know, the price of vehicles went up 30% in the last 4 years. CEO pay went up 40% in the last 4 years. Worker pay went up 6%.
The UAW president adamant without a deal, the union will strike and ramifications could be seen quickly. According to economists, if the strike lasts more than a month, car prices will spike. Ford president and CEO Jim Farley telling ABC News they've put forth a new offer and are optimistic.
It's the most lucrative offer in 80 years working with the UAW. Large pay increases, top 1% health care. We're going to be, we have profit sharing. We're going to be adding inflation protection.
Farley, however, calling some of the union's demands like a 4-day work week not sustainable, adding a multi-week strike could be devastating to the U.S. economy.
It's critical that we find a deal, but there is a limit, as I said. We're not going to mortgage our future.
It's not going to wreck the economy. It's going to wreck the billionaire economy. And that's the big issue here.
The union is calling on higher wages and stronger benefits like cost of living adjustments, more paid time off, and an increase in retiree pay. If a strike is called, it could be the first time workers at the big three automakers took to the picket lines all at the same time. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Republican U.S. Senator Mitt Romney announced today he will not seek re-election. The 76-year-old former GOP presidential nominee noted that if he served another term, he would be in the Senate into his mid-80s. He called for a new generation of leaders and criticized both President Biden and former President Donald Trump. Romney said neither Biden nor Trump are, quote, leading their party to confront those issues. His current term ends January 2025. Walk for a Cause this weekend. Affectionate Arms Adult Daycare wants you to help them reach their $10,000 goal at their Walk-A-Thon fundraiser. Here's how it works. Participants will register to walk a predetermined distance, and they will secure donations from family and friends. The goal is to improve both mental and physical health of elderly and disabled adults. It all kicks off this Saturday, September 16th at the Ted B. Reed Park from 8 to 11 a.m.
Sounds fun.
That's right. And so here is your viewer poll. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, will you participate in the Affectionate Arms Walk-A-Thon fundraiser this Saturday? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. Of course, we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6.
And that's a yes for me. Put me down. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. A neighborhood came together to replace a 5-year-old's bike. It was stolen. The Calhoun County ISD updated its code of conduct to reflect changes on how students caught with THC are punished. Plus, Our Lady of the Gulf Catholic Church is hosting its annual Parish Fall Festival this Sunday. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com.
Victoria Symphony hosted its yearly luncheon to celebrate the golden anniversary of the symphony at the Spring Creek Event Center. The luncheon was partnered with a style show. This is the 14th show the symphony has hosted. Event organizers enjoyed the huge turnout of the event.
They're absolutely spectacular. We really love doing it. We have great participation, and we're just so thankful to have all these people here.
The event included a fashion show, silent auction, and bake sale and music. Victoria Symphony's 50th concert series starts September 16th.
You can read more about the Victoria Symphony's annual League Style Show and Luncheon on crossroadstoday.com. The event included a fashion show, a silent auction, bake sale, and music performed by the Crossroads Jazz Combo. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5. He was on the run for almost 2 weeks today. The long arm of the law caught up with a convicted murderer.
Also ahead, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy defends his decision of launching an impeachment inquiry into President Biden without a House floor vote. Escaped murderer Danilo Cavalcante was finally captured after escaping hundreds of searchers for 2 weeks in rural southeastern Pennsylvania. Authorities said Cavalcante's heat signal was picked up around 1 a.m. from an aircraft, but storms prevented teams from continuing to track him until the morning. No shots were fired during the capture. Cavalcante broke out of the Chester County Jail August 31st while awaiting transfer to a state prison to serve a life sentence for fatally stabbing his ex-girlfriend in 2021. The CDC announced updated COVID-19 vaccines are available this week.
The agency recommended the updated shots for the public, so public and private insurance plans will cover the cost.
Across the U.S., COVID-19 continues to spread, and now there's a new weapon to help fight it. an updated vaccine.
Part of the reason, they wanted to get this out there is because while the numbers are still low, thankfully, they are going to go up. They always go up as the weather gets cooler and drier.
COVID hospitalizations rose about 9% compared to the week prior, but are lower than last winter's peak. Still, there's no clear picture of how many cases are out there since fewer people are testing, but officials are seeing the virus in wastewater.
It's gone up significantly, so that's usually sort of a early warning system, if you will, in terms of how much COVID is out there.
To help lower risk of severe illness, hospitalization, or death, the CDC is now urging everyone 6 months and older who hasn't gotten a COVID-19 vaccine in the last 2 months to get the updated vaccine. CDC advisors say those ages 5 and older should get at least 1 dose. Children 6 months to 4 years who may be getting their first COVID vaccine should get 2 doses of Moderna or 3 doses of Pfizer, with at least 1 being an updated shot. The CDC says those who are immunocompromised should be up to date with at least 3 doses of COVID-19 vaccine, and at least 1 of those doses being the updated vaccine. The new shot is updated to fend off the currently circulating viruses that cause COVID-19 by teaching the immune system to recognize spike proteins of the XBB.1.5 viruses now spreading. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is blaming his predecessor for his choice not to hold an impeachment floor vote. He says the inquiry into President Biden is open due to his actions, not those of Congress. That's despite him saying he wanted Americans to decide through their representatives. Some Republicans aren't on board with the inquiry, so it's unclear if McCarthy has enough support for a floor vote. Republicans have yet to present evidence of wrongdoing. The White House calls the inquiry a political stunt.
A federal judge blocked part of a public health order that suspended the right to carry guns in public across New Mexico's largest metro area. The public health order issued last Friday prompted a flurry of lawsuits, protests, and calls for the judge to step down. She is accused of infringing upon rights afforded by the U.S. Constitution. Top law enforcement authorities had vowed not to enforce the order, and the Democratic State Attorney General urged the governor to reconsider her action. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the CUERO record. CUERO Chamber of Commerce collaborates with Miss Golden Crescent, and the Gobblers of 1973 celebrate their 50th anniversary state win. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com. And for now, here is Mac.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. The rain has begun. You remember what an umbrella looks like? Yeah, you better go look for it. You're going to be needing it already. We're picking up shower activity. Here's Victoria. It's down there near Bloomington, all the way down to the Port Lavaca area. They're getting some rain. Not so much in CUERO, but the activity is much heavier out in far west Texas, because that's the system that's going to come through and give us even more rain Friday and Saturday. I'll have all those details coming up for you in just a moment. Well, good afternoon, everybody. You probably noticed that if you're in Port Lavaca, we're getting some nice rain down there. You can see the thunder showers. I mean, when they start growing up like this, it tells us that there's some heavier rain under there. So Port Lavaca, Calhoun County getting the rain right now. Maybe not so much in Victoria, but there are showers around the region. And this is the beginning of our salvation after the summer of 2023. Out in far west Texas, there's an area of lower pressure developing. You can see how that's helping these thunderstorms to lift all over the place. There's a couple of heavier ones down here. There's San Angelo, so that's coming into central Texas, into the hill country as well. And this is the beginning of it, because not only do we have that upper low, but we have the little frontal system. Yes, this is the frontal system that saved us. This is the frontal system that brought autumn weather to North Texas. We didn't get it yet, but be patient, it's coming. What it's going to do is going to be stalled right here, and it'll be the boundary to trigger additional shower activity over the next 3 days. And then when that area of low pressure rolls over us Friday night, looks like we'll get some even better rain. This is what I'm talking about. Look at this. We did get up to 100 today, but it didn't seem that bad, you know. But look at this, 79 in Waco, 77 in Abilene, and in the 60s in the Panhandle. Lubbock had a high of 69 degrees today. That sounds absolutely delightful. All right, tomorrow we're looking at a 95, and you can still see how the boundary right there, the warm air and the milder air, is setting up that front. So it sort of stays in that area. Look at that, 79 in Dallas tomorrow. Wow, that's exciting. Well, but that is also the reason why we're going to get some much needed rainfall around the area. Now, you know, we're in desperate situations. So we took a look at Future Tracker and we went, how far out can we go? We went all the way to Monday, and you can see right here in the blue, that's up to 1 inch of rain, and some spots may have more than 1 inch of rain. It looks like the heaviest stuff will be up here, Kerrville to San Marcos, but we're in really good shape for getting some much needed rainfall, not only for your yard, but for the replenish the soil, replenish the rivers, set us up, you know, for next year. So there's the frontal system. It'll sort of wobble around. Then the area of lower pressure arrives through our area. That would be on Friday. That's why on Friday night you really got to check in with us, because I think we're going to have showers around the area, some, you know, real rain. So we're going to have to watch that Friday. Saturday, it's a bit of a washout, I do believe. And so just consider that as you start planning your weekend outlook. Another little frontal system also coming in. Of course, Lee continues to wobble around. It's finally got its gears going. Started, I don't know if you noticed, but from about here to here, it was moving very slowly, about 5 miles an hour. Now it's up to the 12-mile-an-hour range, and it's going to continue moving northbound. The forecast zone puts the hurricane force winds somewhere between Nova Scotia and the Bangor, Maine. It'll be a Category 1. It won't be a pleasant day, but it'll be a whole lot better than it could have been were it not a Category 1. Here's your day planner for tomorrow. We start off at 80 degrees, get up to 91 in the afternoon. 91, that's actually cool in Port Lavaca. Then in CUERO, they're only getting up to 94. You might need a sweater with a 94 tomorrow. And then when is the big day? Well, Friday, I'm calling it an alert day, because everybody, I think, is going to get wet, and pretty much on Saturday. So think about that, and just notice we still don't have any hundreds in the 7-day forecast. That's your forecast. Reminding everybody, we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Karina? James?
All right, we'll have to watch that. That Affectionate Arms walk is overnight, but maybe in the morning it'll be just a little wet.
The
Nothing
weather
to hold
will be
us
good,
back.
I feel.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. But we need that rain. It's been a tough, long,
Yeah,
hot
100-day
summer.
weather.
Yeah.
We're making
No more
it through.
records there, please. All right. Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take a look at Wall Street. Plus, in business news, American Airlines has made a drastic cut to its profit forecast as fuel prices go up. Taking a look at your stocks on this Wednesday afternoon, the Dow losing 71 points, the S&P 500 up 5 points, and the NASDAQ adding 40 points. Oil down 32 cents, closing at $88.52 a barrel. Business news, American Airlines anticipates a drastic cut to its upcoming profits. The carrier adjusted its third quarter earnings per share to 20 to 30 cents. The airline cites rising costs for fuel and the new pilot contract for the change. Today, discount carrier Spirit also cut its third quarter revenue by 5%. Still, the International Air Transport Association says global airlines should make nearly $10 billion in profit this year.
President Biden's campaign is hoping to garner some top donors this week. They will be fundraising in Chicago starting today. Potential donors will have a chance to hear from Democratic leaders and Biden advisors on the campaign's re-election strategy. Vice President Kamala Harris will also speak. All this comes one day after House Speaker Kevin McCarthy called on relevant committees to open a formal impeachment inquiry into Biden. Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast with Mac. Plus, a father and his son recreate a decades-old photo. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight right after 25 News Now at 5.
Coming up tonight, the dramatic capture of the escaped killer, the plane with heat sensors, the dogs sent in, the dog that took him down, the cruise ship with Americans on board running aground. They could be stuck for days now, and the Congresswoman's husband killed in a plane crash. We're next.
Streaming service Crossroads Today Plus. Stream our daily newscast and much more using your connected TV. Just download Crossroads Today Plus on your Roku, Amazon, Fire TV, Apple TV, or Android TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus.
I love this next story. As a toddler, Reuben Flowers posed with his pilot dad in an airplane. There they are. Now, nearly 3 decades later, he's posing with his pilot dad again as the first officer on his father's flight. Flowers started his career when his father, also named Reuben Flowers, was nearing retirement as captain. Thanks to a brief overlap, father and son were able to recreate the iconic photo on a, don't cry, Mac, on a flight from Omaha, Nebraska to Chicago in the spring. Flowers says there are 7 pilots total in the family.
Oh, wow, that came full circle for them.
Yeah, that's great.
Flying Southwest, how about that?
And I think there's a shortage of them, so good thing he followed in his father's footsteps.
Kept it in the family.
That is cute, cute.
But so we do have a walk-a-thon this Saturday.
Yeah, and I just, you know, what we've done in walk-a-thons when it rains like that, we wear garbage bags.
Oh yeah.
You put a little hole on top like that, and it just flows
Good
right
idea.
off. So figure out how to walk in the rain or enjoy a walk in the rain, because much needed rainfall is headed in our direction after a long, hot summer. Tomorrow we have a pretty good chance of getting more shower activity, and we're getting some right now tonight. But the heaviest stuff will be on Friday and Saturday, and of course that's the weekend, but just consider how long it's been that we've had a rain on a Saturday. I mean,
yeah, and it's just water, so go walk.
Exactly, it's just water.
All right, thank you, Mac. Thank you for being with us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with Dave Amir is up next.